Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We will be pulling for all three sides of this connection, so we'll be pulling for your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between the connection. The concept being that there are three sides to every story, so we've got your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps, if anything, and leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Aries, let's jump on in. Let's see what we're dealing with here. This is for Aries' connection to the person they are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. Aries' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Love. Let's see what else we got. I really see this card as like a reflection of unconditional love, romance, passion. Ooh, the feelings are strong here. I feel like you do have, obviously, a lot of feelings for this person, and I feel like ultimately there is a lot of unconditional love here. I feel like regardless of this person's flaws or the things that, you know, aren't necessarily perfect, like I do feel like you still have quite a bit of love here for this person. Let's see what this person's side of the connection is. The person that Aries is dealing with, side of the connection to Aries. And remember, this is just overall energy. We're going to dive way deeper into this story as we pull cards. Friendship, money versus love. So it feels like you have a lot of love for this person, but this person keeps things very surface level. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you guys aren't in a relationship or that they're, you know, you're not romantically involved, but I do feel like it's almost as if this person struggles to meet you as deep as you wish to be met here with this friendship card. I feel like what you're desiring from this person, it's almost as if they, I don't know, they're blocking it for some reason. This money versus love card is, again, like this other indication that like this person has a tendency to hold very surface level connections in their life and aren't really able to dip further into kind of romantic connections and all that comes with that. And I feel like that has been very challenging for you because you do have such strong feelings here. Truth in between the connection between Aries and this person. Triggered. And then there's ego and confusion. Okay, so there is a lot of confusion in this connection, I feel like, on both sides. Now, seeing ego with triggered here, I feel like this connection definitely has a tendency to poke at maybe your insecurities, your feelings of not being good enough, especially if like you're desiring more than this person is giving you. And I feel like that starts to make you maybe question your own worth or whether or not you're good enough for what it is that you desire. And I feel like that then starts to make you feel really confused because you're like, well, you know, I do have so much to give, so why is that not being received and reciprocated. And again, it's going to start to kind of make you second guess your own worth. And I feel like this triggered card, I do feel like this connection has a tendency to really poke, like I said, at those insecurities. Because I feel like it's almost as if this person is like keeping you out, like shutting you out in a way, not necessarily completely out of your life. That's not what I'm saying, but it's almost as if they have this wall up. And you're trying to break down this wall, and you're trying to love this person, maybe into changing or into loving themselves enough to, you know, being able to meet you at the depth in which you wish to be met. But I feel like they're really struggling to do that in some way, which again has made things really confusing. I feel like there's just, and I feel like this person's dealing with some confusion too, but let's just keep going. Let's just see what else we've got here, Aries. All right, Aries, this is for your side of this connection. You have love. Now, with that money versus love card, this person could be busy, like trying to chase material success, that it's almost as if they're not prioritizing their relationships too. That could be something. All right, Aries side of this connection, clarifying love. The Magician in reverse. And the Moon. So there it is. You know, the first way that we tend to view any situation is going to be through the lens of our fear, our insecurity. And I feel like however this person is acting, it really has you in this place of doubt, like doubt that you're ever going to be able to experience the love that you truly deserve, doubt that it's even possible for you, and maybe even doubt that you're capable of it. And I feel like with this Moon card, you know, I feel like there's this illusion here that's been created, and it's almost as if this person has become, or like their importance in your life has become a little bit more even important than like yourself. And I feel like it's really important to take a look at that, because I think a lot of times when we love someone wholeheartedly, but they don't show up with that same love, or, you know, there isn't that reciprocation and effort, we can start to feel like it's us, right? We can start to feel like we're not good enough, or there's something wrong with us in some way, when in reality, it might have more to do with the other person than it has to do with us at all. So I feel like there's a lot more to this than you might think here. But let's see this person's energy toward Aries. This is kind of giving me like situationship vibes, or like an on and off again thing. Yeah, there's the Tower in reverse. So they're avoiding something. Avoiding the inevitable. The Hierophant. And the Five of Pentacles. This is so interesting. It's like they don't want to lose you in their life. I feel like they really care about you and want like the connection, but it's almost like they don't want to give you what you need. It's like they're happy with this surface level connection. Now, that's where things start to get complicated, right? Because the depth to which somebody can meet us, the extent to which somebody can love us, is a reflection of the depth in which they've met themselves, the depth in which they love themselves. And I think that sometimes when we're looking for love in people who don't provide it, we are not necessarily being shown our own value, but we're being shown that person's capability and where they're able to, like, essentially like what they're capable of in relationships. And I feel like it's hard because, yes, I do feel like this person cares about you, but it's almost as if they struggle to show up for the connection in the way that you deserve, because they don't want to have to face or meet themselves on the level to which you want to be met at. So it's almost as if you have this capacity to give and receive love that this person is just straight up not matching. And I think that in turn, because of how they've acted, it started to make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like you're not good enough, or what you have to give isn't good enough, or why won't they choose me, or why won't they value me? And I feel like it has again, very little to actually do with you at all. Because with this Lovers in Reverse card, this is kind of this energy of feeling unlovable and feeling not good enough. And, you know, we all have wounds. We all have traumas. We all have reasons that we tend to push away love. But the difference in healthy versus unhealthy relationships is that in healthy relationships, both individuals are kind of aware of those traumas and those triggers and those insecurities, and they're dealing with them. They're actively dealing with them and making sure that they don't show up and like ruin the connection in some way. And I feel like this person, it's like I just kind of get this like overall just vibe of like this person just wants to like have fun. Like they like the surface level stuff. They want the surface level connection. They're not really interested in like the serious stuff. Now, the serious stuff is where things get good, okay? Those deep connections are where life like truly happens and love truly exists. So I think that this person might, you know, keep you out because they, you know, it has more to do with them and where they're at. And I feel like it's almost as if you're like, they're not ready for what you have to give here. Again, less about like them not choosing you and more about them like not being ready for you. Almost like you have, I don't know if you've like maybe more emotional maturity or more growth or more self-awareness. Like, I don't know what the case is, but it feels like they just aren't matching that energy. It's like there's a huge, which I feel like is where the confusion is. It's almost like there's this disconnect in signal. It's like, I don't know. I get why you're confused. That's for sure. Truth of this connection between Aries and this person. This Five of Cups. See, I feel like you're disappointed with how this person acts, and how this person behaves. And I get why you would feel that way, because again, I feel like you're desiring a lot more than where this connection is currently at. Again, I get like this situationship vibe, like keeping things casual or keeping things on the surface. And maybe you've gone along with that for a while because you're like, you know, whatever, like maybe things will change or maybe things will, you know, get deeper as time goes on. But it feels like things have just stayed at this kind of like surface level energy. And I feel like that has kept you in this place of like wishing and wanting and hoping for more, but then consistently being disappointed by how this person shows up and what they're giving. And I feel like that is, again, where your fears and your insecurities start to come out. Because then you're like, well, why? Like, why aren't they, you know, investing? Why aren't they choosing me? Why aren't they committing? Like, what's going on? Why am I not enough? When in reality, I feel like you're dealing with someone who, like, quite literally isn't capable of meeting you on that level. It's very much the energy of, like, emotional unavailability. Overall theme of this reading for Aries, which I will say in a lot of my readings, I typically pick up on that emotional unavailability. Overall theme of this reading, I feel like empaths or people who are very emotional tend to attract people who are emotionally unavailable for some reason. Overall theme of this reading between Aries and this person. What does Aries need to know in order to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Sacrifices must be made and commitment. Okay. Here's where things get, and then you have stand your ground. Yes. Okay. It is absolutely true that relationships require sacrifice. It's true that, you know, no relationship is going to be 50-50 all the time. That is absolutely and completely unrealistic. However, when you're dealing with a connection where you are constantly the one who is making sacrifices, who is constantly sacrificing your needs or your dreams or your values or, you know, whatever it is, then that is going to leave you eventually feeling resentful, because no relationship is 50-50 all the time, but it should at least average out to that. You know, there's days where you show up with 60% because you're feeling good. This person only has 40, but then there are days where you're not going to be feeling so good. Maybe you only have 20%. That's when you have to, you know, That's when you should be dealing with someone who's willing to kind of pick up that 80% because you were there for them on the hard days. And I feel like so much of the burden of this connection really, really seems to fall on you. And I feel like you are so committed and so loyal to this person because, well, that's just the person that you are. So I feel like it's not something to be ashamed of, but I do feel like what you're needing to understand is that you do deserve what you have to give. You do absolutely deserve the unconditional love and commitment that you give. And sometimes when we're dealing with unconditional love and we love somebody, you know, for who they are, we start to turn that into unconditional tolerance. And our commitment to that person becomes a lack of commitment to ourselves. And we start tolerating, you know, bare minimum behavior or transactional love where, you know, somebody only gives a little bit just to get some from you. And I feel like sometimes what that leaves us with is not really knowing what the right answer for us is, because we feel like we want to be committed to this person because we love them and we care about them. But no matter how much we try, we just cannot seem to get that same commitment back. And that's why I feel like you have stand your ground, is like, you know, it's almost as if there's this belief that you are meant to sacrifice for love, but you are not. Your deservingness of love is not dependent on how much you self-sacrifice. And sometimes we believe that that is the case. And especially as like women, and I'm not saying you have to be a woman, but as women in this society, we're often taught that like our value is about how much we overvalue other people and undervalue ourselves. It's like the woman who lacks boundaries and is, you know, willing to give people the shirt off of their back and is willing to just constantly, you know, despite what's best for them, show up for everyone around them. Like those are the women that are praised in our society, but those are also the women who are hurting the most because their cup is empty. They are not getting what they need from other people, and they don't have the energy to give it back to themselves. And that's where we find ourselves. And this could also be if you are if you do identify as male, like that could also apply to you too. It's not just about women, but I know that that's a huge theme in this society. And I think that sometimes we start to believe that our value is about how much value we provide other people. And when you're dealing with someone who keeps things surface level, it's hard because you're like, man, I am pouring my heart and soul into this connection for somebody that just like pretends like they don't care. I feel like you're dealing with someone who's maybe a little bit immature. I feel like I've said that in an Aries reading before. Something about immaturity. It's like, and that's kind of what I get from this person. So maybe this is the same person. But let's see. All right, Aries, this is for your side of this connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Oop, oop, oop. The Four of Wands, the Six of Wands. It's like you're waiting for this finish line. You feel like if you could just get to this certain place in this connection, then everything will be good. And my goodness, oh my goodness, Aries, you are pouring into this person, and you have been for a really long time. Again, I get this just like absolute unwavering commitment from you. Like with this Four of Wands energy and this Six of Wands, though, I feel like it's almost like you have this idea of where things can get in this connection. And I feel like you're pouring into this out of hopes that you can get to this place. And there's a lot of hope in this connection. And I feel like there has consistently been a lot of hope in this connection. You have so much love here. There's so much compassion. I literally feel like you would do anything for this person. And I feel like that's kind of where the problem lies, is because you would do anything for this person, even at the expense of your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And, you know, I think that it's hard because we are taught that relationships require us to kind of, you know, selflessness is, you know, important and things of that nature. And that is true. There are times where you have to put your needs aside and support somebody else when they're going through a time, right? What I feel like is different between that concept and what you're dealing with in this connection is you are always the person sacrificing. You are always the person making the effort. You're always the person putting in the energy. You are always the person showing up. You're always the person making sure everything is okay, being there for this person. But then on the days where you're struggling and you need help and you need someone to be there for you, silence. Crickets. Like, it's like there's nothing. And this person maybe even still is focusing more on their needs, and how you having to focus on your needs is affecting how their needs aren't getting filled, you know? I feel like there's a lot of selfishness that you're dealing with in this person, which is causing you to be overly selfless. And I feel like that's where there's this need to kind of address where you believe your value inherently stems from, because your value is not ever, hear me, Aries, if you hear nothing else, your value is never, ever dependent on how valuable you are to other people, especially in your romantic relationships. You are inherently a valuable person, and people who see that and who deserve to experience all that you have to give are going to see that and going to show up to prioritize that and, you know, make sure that you feel just as loved and secure in the connection as they get to feel because of you. And when you're dealing with people who don't know how to meet you at that level because they haven't done the work on themselves, or again, they lack the emotional depth or the emotional maturity, like, you are always going to be disappointed by where that person is at, because you're asking for them to meet you at a place that they aren't capable of. Now, that is not me saying that you are asking for too much, okay? That's not me saying that you should just lower your expectations and you should just take what you could get. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. This is where boundaries come into key, where, you know, being committed to other people is important, but that should never mean a lack of commitment of yourself. You know, commitment within itself is about, you know, committing to somebody else through, you know, the good and bad, right? Whatever that might look like. But it doesn't mean self-sacrificing day in and day out in order to make something work. And I feel like that's what this has consistently made you do. And I think that that's where, you know, there's a need for kind of a bigger perspective and to look at, like, okay, well, what's the mirror here, right? If this person isn't choosing you, if this person isn't committing to you, and commitment is, there's so many different forms of commitment. Like, you could be married to this person, but they're still not committed to showing up for the connection and to making you feel loved and valued and all of the things that you deserve. Commitment is so much more further than just what's said, right? It's about action. It's about behavior. It's about showing you that they care and showing you that they love you. And maybe they do that in some ways. And I'm not saying this person doesn't love or care about you, but it just feels like they cannot or struggle to meet you at the depth in which you wish to be met. And I think that, you know, that's where you have to look, like, okay, they're not committing to me, choosing me, loving me, valuing me. Is that a reflection of how I'm not committing to me, choosing me, loving me, valuing me? You know, I often talk about how boundaries, why did I go to grab that? How boundaries are the distance at which you can love yourself and the other person that you're dealing with simultaneously, right? When you are loving somebody while consistently stepping over your boundaries, you're going to get to a point of resentment where you just feel completely burnt out, your cup is going to be dry, and you're not going to be able to give anything at all to anybody because you're not going to have anything to give, because you will drain yourself trying to save, fix, or heal other people. And I feel like that's that need to kind of look at whether or not that's happening in this connection. Well, let's see. This person's energy toward you, Aries. I feel like you're dealing with someone who just does not prioritize this. This person's energy toward Aries. I want the card to flip all the way around or hit the table. That's why I didn't take that one. There, oh my gosh. The Page of Pentacles in reverse to me literally means, like, immaturity. And then you have this Hangman. Let me see what else comes out. Page of Pentacles in reverse, Hangman. And then the Page of Cups in reverse. It's like, because this is like emotional immaturity. or emotional unavailability, excuse me. Emotional unavailability, immaturity, but then you have this hangman. What is this hangman talking about? Surrendering, letting go. There's the Fool. Aries, okay. Could be dealing with a water sign, but I don't feel like that's what this is about. This is talking about emotional depth for sure. This is not a question about whether or not you're good enough for this person. Aries, this is a question about whether or not this person is good enough for you. I mean, emotional unavailability, emotional immaturity. I feel like what this hangman is really talking about is like, I do feel like this person is very go with the flow. It's like they're, just kind of letting what happens happen, like just kind of like there's no really intentionality behind their actions. And I feel like they want what this connection can be. I do feel that. Like, I don't feel like they don't care. I don't feel like they don't, I do feel like they do care. But it's almost as if with this Queen of Cups, okay, how do I put this? Aries, they like how much you take care of them. They like how much you take care of them. And the number one way that we tend to fall into unhealthy relationship dynamics is when we become somebody's parent, especially in romantic relationships. Now, this could literally be a connection with a child, but I don't really feel like that's where this is headed. I feel like this is more talking about somebody who likes the way that you take care of them. It's almost as if you are this caring, motherly, or fatherly figure for them. And it's almost as if they, you gotta be careful about this, Aries. You gotta be careful about this. One of the things that we have to remember about relationships is that they are partnerships. It takes two people showing up, for the relationship to make the relationship work. And there are gonna be times, where you're gonna have to take care of one person, and then times where the other person's gonna have to take care of you. That's not what I feel like you're dealing with in this connection. I feel like you're dealing with someone who doesn't take care of themselves and who expects you to take care of everything for them. It's very much like, I don't know how to handle my own problems, or I don't know how to deal with my own stuff, so I need you to save me. I need you to fix me. I need you to heal me. The number one way that we do people a disservice is when we continue to rescue themselves from themselves. When we're constantly there to problem solve or to pick up the pieces after people make a mess, we are actually robbing them of the opportunity to hit whatever rock bottom they might need to hit in order for them to heal, grow, evolve. I feel like you do a wonderful job at taking care of other people, Aries, but I feel like it is time for you to start taking care of yourself. Commitment does not equal self-sacrifice. You have to be just as committed to yourself as you are to the people that you love and care about, and I do feel like there is a lack of that. And I need you to understand that the way that this person acts and the way that they behave, it has nothing to do with who you are and what your value is. It has to do with the way that this person values you. And, I think that it's hard because when you're dealing with people who are emotionally immature or just immature in general, you're dealing with people who haven't learned to take care of themselves. They haven't learned to love themselves or to treat themselves well or to essentially be an adult, right? And some people go a lifetime without learning how to be an adult. And I think that when we kind of tend to, again, those like empathetic, caring, loving individuals tend to kind of like find those people, especially when we believe that our value, again, is dependent on how much we take care of other people. But Aries, you are starting to drown. You cannot save somebody from drowning if they are not willing to save themselves. You have to focus on making sure that you are taken care of first. I talk a lot about choosing yourself and putting yourself first and prioritizing your needs on this channel. And I think a lot of times people can be like, oh, that's really selfish, or, what about other people's needs? And I say this in all of my readings. It is not your needs are the only thing that matters. Screw everybody else's. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But it also isn't other people's needs are the only thing that matters. Screw yours, because you do have a purpose here to show up in this world, to give love and to be there for other people. Absolutely. Other people need you and what you provide to this world. But you can't show up consistently or in a way that is healthy for you if your cup is consistently empty. And I feel like that's what continues to happen in this connection, or maybe in your connections in general. Maybe you are the friend that's always putting in the effort, or the family member that's always there for everybody else, or always planning everything. Like, I just feel like you are the one who constantly puts in the effort, but you're not so good at being on the receiving end of that effort. And that's what needs to be, because that's not a healthy dynamic for you, or ultimately for other people either, because other people need to pull their weight in relationships, and you deserve somebody who does that for you. So in between this connection, you have confusion with the 5 of Cups. We are going to dive deeper into this connection, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Thank you so much, Aries, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Aries, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aries.